everyone, I'm Blue, and today we'll be talking about 10 random things I got really into. These things will be things I used to be into and no longer interested in, and then things I'm still interested in. So this is not going to be a complete list. Anyways, let's begin. Boop! This is a very normal interest to have. It's also common to have a rock collection. I am no exception, I have a rock collection. I know that there's some people who have meaning in their rocks, but I mainly have them because they either look cool or they came from a cool location. Boop! This is the kind of interest that comes and goes for me. This mainly is just going down the YouTube rabbit hole. Sometimes it goes a little bit deeper by checking websites and seeing things like tiny little earthquakes, for example. It's really fascinating to me. I recommend looking into it if you're curious about tornadoes, hurricanes, earthquakes, volcanoes, fires. It's one of those things that's interesting, but in a I'm afraid of it kind of way. Boop! This is probably my longest interest. This started at a young age on YouTube, and then I got the game. After a while, I started on a Forever World in secondary school. I mainly do builds and farms on there. Also, as my subscribers know, I also make Minecraft content. If you're interested, check it out. Just the longest cons that I've noticed being a long-term Minecraft player is the people that come and go, as well as losing your Forever Worlds. Those are just the main things in my opinion. Boop! Painting is one of those interests that I really like doing, but can't always do. And this is mainly because of how much time it takes. I mean, I end up getting really sucked into it and just work on it for 12 hours. This is very common if you're an artist or you're really interested in something. Personally, I really like scenery for painting, and I mainly use acrylic paints, sometimes watercolor as well. Boop! Pottery is one of those things I got into around 2020 with little clay figures. However, I didn't learn more about pottery until I got into high school as a fun form of art. Unfortunately though, without being in a pottery class, I could only really get back into making little tiny figures. Boop! I have been interested in birds for a while. I think how this started was when wanting to become a pilot, I started really liking birds as well. However, the dream of wanting to become a pilot disappeared. Well, the interest in birds did not. So I started to learn more about birds and how they are cool, pretty much. However, I wouldn't recommend them as pets. If you have a pet bird, you would know. Boop! This is something I got into for a while. I learned to make the small stuff like stars, pens, lizards, cuffs. Then I got into more bigger things like bags and even clothing. It's really fun to look at on the internet and learn how to make this cool art. It's also one of those hobbies that takes up a lot of time. Here are some cool pony bead art I made. I do know that a lot of people also call this candy. However, why I'm saying pony beading and not candy is because the understanding of candy is much more than just making pony bead creations. So if you're curious, that's why. Boop! I'm gonna be honest, this started by home appliances just acting weird and I needed to fix it. So instead of calling someone and waiting forever, I just decided to look it up on YouTube and fix it and hope it would work. Since most of my appliances are older models and it's my parents' stuff, it's pretty easy to fix/clean most appliances, most of the time. Alright, turn it on. Shoot, it's probably still loose. Ha! So this is more just liking the drink and wondering how many flavors there are. So I looked it up and there were more drink flavors. So I asked my folks if we could try them all, and we set up this little thing of cheese, crackers, and little cups and water. And personally, I really liked the pineapple as my number one, but second place for me was mango. Also, here's a fun fact about Harato's drink. It was made by this guy and originally had a coffee flavor, but because people like their coffee warm and not fizzy, it led to more fruitier flavors such as lime and fruit punch. Boop! Lastly is to climb a mountain. This is a new interest on the list. It's a game on Roblox. Basically, the concept is you climb a mountain to the top. This may sound easy, however, it can be surprisingly difficult, especially for beginner players. The clip that's on screen right now is me completing hard mode for the third time. Also, there's some quests that can be completed, like the flower book quest and the researching quest, along with getting the other badges, like the question marks badge, for example. If you enjoy obby games, I would recommend this. The main cons, however, what I've noticed is the fishing mechanics for people who play on console isn't good. The badge for completing hard mode doesn't give it unless it's referring to magma mode, which I have not personally completed yet. The beginner stuff, like the first boots you get and the first jacket you get, it's only really good until you get better gear. It's also hard for new players to get far up the mountain, at least for like a good little bit, unless you know how to shift lock jump consistently. Besides these cons, I have some personal favorite items in this game. I like the shovel, however it cannot be used in hard mode. I like the coil, however you only get it once you complete hard mode once, and it's only really useful for completing quests slightly faster and coin collecting, so it's for me. There's also things I recommend for beginner players, like saving up boots in a tent. Well, if you're able to fish for food and sunken treasure, I recommend doing that instead of buying the food in the shop. Also, the sunken treasure in the game is pretty much just a randomization of getting things like stakes, hooks, food, like hand warmers, etc., which is pretty useful for beginner players. It's also a roundabout way of possibly getting items past your limit. Like, for example, you can only have 75 stakes in this game, so a way to go around that is having sunken treasure with you. You may have noticed that with the gameplay of that's on screen is I have sunken treasure in my inventory. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, please consider subscribing. If you guys want to hear more about random things I got into, I'm happy to make more videos. But for now, I will see you guys later.